When I was at 14, we were living in Ankara and we moved to Kastamonu, which was a small town in Western Black Sea. And my father was working at Directorate of Highways. And since we moved there in summertime, the schools were closed and there were no friends, no TV, of course, even not telephone. I think we didn't have telephone at that time at home. And it was quite boring. We were in a new city, new environment, and we did not have, we didn't have anything to deal with. So my father started to take us to the park, which is near to his workplace. And while going there, I noticed a small library in the same area. So I started to go to that library, and I've seen that there are so many novels on the shelves. And I started to read, and in almost few months, I finished almost all classical novels. So I asked my father to bring a little bit more, and in different kind, please. So he was going to, because all of them were love stories, etc. That was nice, but I asked them, bring me a little bit more books, please. So he was going to Ankara for business trips, and one of them, he brought me a book. That book was Erich von Däniken's Chariots of Gods. That was it. That was the first striking dot of my life. And it changed every thinking systematic of mine. After reading that book, I started to question everything, which seems absolute. What is absolute? What is this? And the questioning is the very important thing of my life at that period. So that was really a striking point, tipping point for my life. And then the second striking dot of my life was my school, selecting the university. When I was 12, at 12th grade, my grades are quite high, and one of my uncles were going to Middle East Technical University in Ankara. We went back to Ankara again, and he came to me one day and saying that, Ufuk, your grades are quite high, and you may have a chance to select your university and your department. Let's have a short look around and you see which universities are good at, and you decide by yourself. Okay, let's do it. And we went to several universities in Ankara. That was not, there were not so much universities at that time. And we, of course, went to Middle East Technical University. As soon as I arrived in the campus, I fall in love. So I decided to go there. Okay, if I will go to a university, that will be that. But which department? What shall I study? I couldn't find that yet. In those times, Turkey was in turbulence. There was a chaos in socially and economically, and everybody is struggling. Suddenly, a man appeared on newspapers who was Mr. Atilla Karaosmanoğlu. But that was not Mr. Atilla Karaosmanoğlu. Everybody was calling him Mr. Economist Atilla Karaosmanoğlu. So I noticed that economist as a title and occupation, and I thought that that might be a differentiating thing for me in future. Indeed, my first intention was to become an architect or civil engineer. I saw that everybody is talking about this economist, and he has a salvation program package, and everything will be all right with this program. And I saw that this economist thing is good for me for future. So I should be an economist and I should go to the university. And thanks God that I did it. Because in the university, I gained my second dose composure. University gave me, or university education system abandoned word impossible from my personal vocabulary. And economy gave me the skill of analytics. And I realized the power of analytical thinking and strategic thinking. And one more thing which I got from the university was to realize the importance of being socially responsible person, because I was working also in the school as a reader of blind students, and I was helping them to study at the library. So living with them gave me a really very, very important awareness about being socially responsible person. And after this second tipping point, striking point, I graduated, of course, and I started to work in an irrigation pump selling company. And that was a coincidence. I again did not plan to go there, but I was there. So in that irrigation pump company, my duty was to prepare routine reports for sales and stock. And only thing that I was to report, we sold that much pump because there was no rain. We couldn't sell pumps because there was rain, etc. I said, and of course these reports were done by handwriting. There were no computers. So I said that, oh, if that is the work, I'm not convenient to work. So I quit immediately, and I decided to have babies and become a housewife, because I was thinking that if that is the working life, it is not according to me, so I should stay at home and I should raise babies. But all of a sudden I realized that I have a serious health problem that prevents me to get pregnant. So a special treatment procedure started, and my psychology was not so good. And my family pulled me to work to deal with something. And one of my family friends pushed me to another company to work for. And again, thanks God, I started to work in a company who was the first printer importer of Turkey. And that brought me into IT industry without knowing anything at that time. But I think that third dot of my life was one of the most luckiest dot of my life. And I realized the power of technology, and I had the chance to observe how technology can change everything in just 20 to 25 years. So it was really a very big thing for me. So the third dot gave me the knowledge of technology. And while I was working in IT industry, I was indeed, I realized that I planted for my fourth dot indeed. During one of the flights, I found the Futurist magazine. I think somebody has forgotten in the airport. And I read it, and I saw that there is an association, and that was again a striking point for me that I had years ago after reading Chadri's of the Gods. And it enlarged my thinking capacity. And it was really a big discovery for me. I realized the greatness of thinking the future in many different ways while working futurist scenarios, scenario planning, fictions, etc. That was a great discovery for me, and I became a strong futurist from that point. And at the end, at 2005, we founded the Turkish Futurist Association, and I became the president of that association as well till this March. I was the president for 3 years. And I also became the publisher of the Futurist magazine after years. So those 4 points, the book that gave me the questioning skill, the university that gave me the questioning, analyzing, and being a socially responsible person and cancel the impossible from my life and from my vocabulary, and technology, and being a futurist brought me to my 5th dot. And I spent, or I worked in IT industry for almost 20 years. And afterwards, I got a prize for best business woman in IT industry. I graduated from IT industry, and I worked in several other companies. And after all those years, I was thinking that I should form my company. And on what can I do to serve people, and what can I do after founding my company? I thought that, and I realized that all of these dots, the major and underlying problem which are underlying many of unsuccessful, unhappy story was to go ahead without knowing what to do really, without having a certain plan, without having a vision for people's own life. So I decided to help people to think about future and to think their life as a project and to plan it. So I decided to form my company on future planning issue. And you see, this is really a drawing of mine while I was working on those years. And I made the logo, I wrote a book, I made everything, but one thing is still missing. That was the methodology. Okay, everything was in my mind. I was fulfilled with ideas and inspiration, but there should be a methodology. So my dots should be changed.